Hello, hello. My name is Kim Addis. I am the president and founder of Frame of Mind Coaching and the co founder of the Journal That Talks Back. You have just joined the Frame of Mind Coaching podcast, where we invite leaders from all over the world to come onto the podcast and get coached live and in person. Today, I have a guest from Montreal. Her name is Annabelle Picker, and she is in the middle or at the end of her mat leave, and she has some important decisions that she wants to make. Annabelle, welcome.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Kim. Thanks for the introduction.
So I didn't give a lot of detail other than the mat leave thing, but maybe you can fill us in. What's going on? Where were you working before mat leave? What is happening? And share with us the decisions that you're trying to make right now.
Yes. So before my mat leave, I was working at EY, so Ernst and Young. It's a pretty big and worldwide organizations specialized in audit and consulting in strategy and management. So I work in the talent team, and I am a manager of a business unit within that company. So I went on mat leave, and so here in Canada, for the people who don't know, we have a pretty extensive mat leave, which lasts a year. So I was still kind of involved into the activities within my company during my mat leave. When I say that, I mean my manager was still like reaching out to me, giving me some news about the team and everything that was going on. And so one day she reached out to me a few weeks ago, and she wanted to know, like, what is my plan? What do I have in mind for my return? And I explicitly mentioned that when I'm back, I really want to grow, evolve, and have more responsibility. So basically, I told her that I really want to get promoted um, pretty soon after I come back. So this
And
is what
in your
happened.
mind, what does pretty soon mean?
Let's say I was about to come back in June, so June 30th. I thought that I would do, let's say, 2 to 3 months before I can got a promotion, because
Okay.
before I left, I was working for a little bit more than 2 years
Okay.
at the same position, though. So I really believe that I was eligible for a promotion,
Yeah.
even if I was on mat leave for a year, because that year, as you may know or may not, if you didn't go on mat leave yet, it's not a year off. Like, you're still growing, you're still learning so many things, and this is what happened for me during my mat leave. I really have this feeling that I grew so much. I've gained so many new skills that I still feel like I'm very eligible to have a promotion when I'm back.
Okay.
So that's where my request was coming from.
Okay. So then what happened? So you said, I'm hoping to get a promotion within two
Yeah,
to 3 months of my return.
yeah.
Okay. And then what happened?
And then what happened? She mentioned that it's not likely to happen. I Although they're really happy with my work and they're really excited to having me back, I wouldn't be promoted within a year or more. So
Or
that's
more?
what she, yeah, that's what she, that is what she mentioned. And it was a kind of a shock for me, because this is really not aligned to my career plan. I wouldn't see myself coming back at the same position as I was before my mat leave and stay there for a year or more. So yeah, it was a kind of shock for me. So I decided that I would go on the market and look around if there is any interesting opportunities for me. And I really like the industry that I'm working in, so the
Yeah.
consulting industry. So um, the logical next step for me was to go in a bigger or a more well-renowned firm in the consulting area,
Yeah.
right? So after EY, like the next one, the best one would be either McKinsey and Company, Bain and Company, or BCG, the Boston Consulting Group. And so I saw this amazing opportunity at the Boston Consulting Group, and I applied. Well, I reached out to a few people and I applied, and so they happened to like my profile and they made me an offer.
Okay. And it's a good offer?
It's an amazing offer. It's really like it's exactly what I had in mind when I meant being promoted at EY. So it's the next even two-step um, higher than my current role, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm currently a talent lead, and I would become a senior manager.
Okay. And you feel equipped to do that?
Definitely, because I've been in the recruitment sector and area for 10 years now, 9 years,
Okay.
almost 10. I've been managing teams. Like I'm really ready for more. So I feel really
Okay.
well equipped for that, for
Okay.
sure.
So what's the issue? They were looking forward to having you back, but now you found a better role, a better
Yeah.
job, a better position.
Yeah.
So do you feel uncomfortable about letting them know, or
Yeah.
is there something else that you're still grappling with?
Yeah. So there are two things. First is obviously I feel uncomfortable letting them know that letting my current employer know that I found another role, because I know they were excited to having me back. And also there is the mat leave issue.
Okay.
So the mat leave issue is that when I went on mat leave, my current employer, so Ernst and Young, they gave me a top up on my salary, which means
Yeah.
that they gave me money to like, I hope you know what is a top up. So and
Actually, please describe it because I don't
okay,
know that all of our listeners have heard of a top up. So
okay,
describe what that is.
sure thing. So a top up is uh, let's say a compensation on the salary that I have during my mat leave. Well, during my mat leave, I have like the government and how can I say that in English? It's like the money that the government pays me during my mat leave,
Yeah.
but it's only like 70% of my salary. And
Yeah.
during 17 weeks, my current employer, EY, gave me the rest to top up and to give me like the same salary that I was used to have.
Okay. So for
Okay.
17 weeks out of
Yeah,
the year.
exactly.
Okay.
So which represents, I think, 5 months or so
Okay. Okay. Great.
to
And did they give
complete the
that to you
30%
at the beginning or at the end?
at the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was the 5 first months of my mat leave,
Okay.
right?
Great. And at that point, you thought you were going to go back to
Of
EY.
course, of
Okay.
course, of course. There was no
Okay.
issue. And even then, like, yeah, there was no brainer there. I was sure I was getting going back to EY. And so that's why I didn't even think about it. Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
now if I don't go back to EY, or if I don't stay at EY for 6 months, I have to pay the money back.
Do you have to? How do you know?
It's a policy, and a friend of mine told me so, and I think I read that in my contract when
Okay.
I signed the paper. You know, when you go on mat leave and you sign papers, I saw that clause in the contract, so I have to pay the money back.
Okay. So the issue is that you want to go to BCG and you don't want to pay the money back.
Yeah, I would just like to negotiate about that, because I believe the relationship was really good, and I know that everything is negotiable in a relationship, especially a work relationship.
Yeah.
So I really would like to negotiate that, and so I would like to know how and why and how I can word it, because at the same time I know they're going to be disappointed kind of me leaving, and I come with another request like, hey guys, I'm leaving and I don't want to pay the money back. This sounds to me like a very blunt message, so I
Yeah.
would just like to know how to
Yeah.
negotiate that, how I can put that, and also how I can put that in a way where I can keep the relationship well. I don't want to leave them in a bad way, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and when you accepted BCG, did you agree to a start date?
Yeah, the start date, they asked me to start like in a week, and I was like no, because I have also have things to do, so I'm gonna start May 23rd.
Okay. So you're planning to start earlier than you were planning to go back to EY. Okay. All right.
Exactly.
So let me just ask you one more question. If EY came back and said, okay, fine, we'll give you the promotion and the raise and the position, would you take it?
No, no, I made my mind now, and the BCG is a really, really good company.
Yeah.
So it would anyways be like the next step of my career going at the
Okay.
BCG. See what I
Right.
mean?
So
So
it's part of your career path.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, honestly. And I doubt that knowing EY, everything can happen though, but I doubt they would like match the position and the salary at this point.
Okay. All
But if
right.
they do, I don't think I will
Yeah.
stay anyways.
So I think that there are two things, and I don't want to lump them together, right? The one part is to go back to your manager, who is, it sounds like you have a great relationship with this
Yeah.
manager because she was keeping in touch with you, she was keeping you in the loop, she was, actively reaching out, all of that kind of stuff. So it sounds like she did a lot of the right things, except I also think she did something very wrong. And we're going to talk a little bit about what you should do, but also I want to kind of step back and, um, for those of you who are listening, understand that the way Annabelle's manager handled the situation was really weak, was very poor in helping Annabelle navigate some of the key issues that are important to her and really dramatically impact retention. So Annabelle's manager, right? She didn't handle that question properly. When Annabelle said, I'm ready to move up, Annabelle's manager said, well, there's just no opportunity. So she closed the door for Annabelle. And when we have a young employee who's eager and talented and driven and wants to move up, the answer, no opportunity, will cause that person to turn and look elsewhere. So, one of the key components in retention is making sure that our young, talented employees are clear about what the future looks like. They have a visibility to the future. They understand what the next steps are and when they would be happening. So if Annabelle's manager said, hey, like it probably won't happen in the next 2 to 3 months, but in 6 months, it's really likely to happen, Annabelle probably wouldn't even look elsewhere. She'd say, okay, fine, I could probably stick it out. But that's not what happened. And so, from the standpoint of recruiting and retention, it's super important for you to understand that Annabelle's manager was sorely lacking some coaching skills to help Annabelle see what was in it for her very quickly after she came back. Right. So, coaching skills with respect to recruiting and retention are seriously very, very important. Annabelle, in your case, there are two pieces. One is announcing the news, right? Telling your manager, hey, I'm leaving. Okay. And what you're doing right now is you're lumping two things together. I'm leaving and I don't want to pay you back. And what I would say to you is don't do that. Separate the two issues. They are not the same discussion on the same day at the same time. And they may not even be the same discussion with the same people. So one might be a finance discussion, an HR discussion, and one is a discussion with your manager. And so the discussion with your manager kind of has to sound like, hey, like, I love you. I had a great time with you. You've been an amazing mentor for me. But it's time for me to, it's very important for me to keep growing. And so I found another opportunity. And it's very important for me that we stay in touch, et cetera. But what you want to do is go in and say, here are all the things I learned being here. I really, really enjoyed it. But the idea that there was no imminent growth wasn't something that I was comfortable with. And so I did look for another opportunity and I found something. And so, it's not always fun to deliver that news, but you have to deliver that news because I think she would appreciate you telling her as soon as possible. I'm sure she doesn't want to hear it through the grapevine. But also, I think it's important for her to understand, man, I kind of made a mistake in not offering her a plan or not
Mm,
helping her see what her next move would be. I kind of
mm,
just shut the door. And so
mm,
there's a value in providing feedback. Okay. And in a way, like you're providing feedback to say, I have to take care of my family. I'm very interested in growth. And so here was a path for faster growth for me.
mm,
So
mm,
that's
mm.
part A, right? Like that discussion. And that discussion needs to be full of gratitude, full of appreciation, and also providing her a little bit of feedback on why, you made a decision to move forward, which was it didn't seem like there was an opportunity ahead. Like there was nothing on the horizon, right? So that's conversation number one. Conversation number two is, will they ask you to pay back the top up? And my advice on that front is to address it when it comes up. So a lot of times we want to address things ahead of time. We want to kind of, not be sitting ducks and wait for something to happen. But in this case, I think bringing it up brings the issue more to the forefront and causes a little bit of a battle, right? And I think that in this case, it's wiser for you to wait and see what happens and see if they even ask you to pay back the top up. And if they do, at that point, go back, perhaps with the assistance of your manager, who you've managed to stay in touch with, who you're going for lunch with and being on good terms with on a personal level, who might help you fight that battle.
Okay.
Right? And so you want to separate the issues. Don't lump them together. And as you do split up with your manager, you got to make sure that you stay in touch, that you do connect, that you do go out for drinks or whatever, that you do have a really good conversation with her and maintain a friendship so that while she's upset that you're leaving, her compassion, her caring for you stays in place.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Because you don't want to go, you definitely don't want to go say, I'm leaving and I don't want to pay you back.
No, at all. And this is not me, and this is not what I'm used to do. And this is just not the image that I want to reflect anyway.
Yes.
So definitely, that's why I'm here, because I know you give great advice. So I just wanted to know how can I word that message in a very proper way. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I think that your primary concern is, how do you sit down with your manager and say, here's the decision I've made, and here's why, and here's, and then the second piece is the top up. And I think that you don't want to have the battle around the top up with your manager.
No,
right?
At all.
That's not your manager's even domain. Probably.
Yeah, exactly. And what do you think, or how would you do that? Like, if she brings this issue up during the conversation. So let's say we have the breakup discussion and she's like, okay, but do you know that you're going to have to pay back the top up? How can I
what you
answer
say
that?
is you say, oh my God, it didn't even occur to me.
Okay.
and you say, I'm hoping that somehow there's a way for us to negotiate that I can pay a portion back instead of all of it back.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I hope there's a way for me to negotiate that, because that would really, really affect me in a bad way. So you just say, you leave it, right? You say
it, like,
right. And you say, what is the process? Like, who do I need to talk to about that? And you ask her for help. I'm hoping you can help me with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. You're amazing.
And I mean, I'm excited for you because you're about to go into a whole new adventure, a whole new job, and a whole new role. And so BCG is awesome. So I wish you tremendous luck in your new position and your new role in the area of recruiting. I know that you're going to be incredible. And I do hope that we stay in touch. I'm doing a lot of work. And I mentioned this, I think, to you earlier. I'm doing a lot of work in the area of recruiting and retention. And I'm actually speaking at a conference coming up in June for SHRM. It's the Society for Human Resources Managers, on the topic of recruiting and retention. And I'm hoping to use your story. I mean, you're a perfect example.
Of course. And hopefully in a year or two, hopefully we can have and speak on that conference together, because I would be honored.
Oh, wow. That's a great idea.
Yeah, because again, I've been recruiting since 2013. So I've seen so many changes in the market. I've seen so many different cases. I have so many stories to tell. So, and I love giving like advice and speaking publicly. So yeah, let's keep in touch. Definitely.
Let's keep in touch. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use your story of how the lack of visibility to the future, the lack of a career plan was enough for you to say, I don't see a future here for me. And that's only one of the components that is required for companies to maintain their talent. And so I'm so excited about talking about this subject. And so I have a lot more to share on the subject of recruiting and retention. If anyone wants to learn about what I've picked up along the years in terms of how to find and keep the right talent, please reach out to me. And if anybody has a challenge they want to share on the podcast, please reach out to me as well. My email address is kim@frameofmindcoaching.com. Annabelle, thank you so much for being on the podcast with us, for sharing your story. And we all wish you amazing luck in your future.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim. It was my pleasure. And thank you so much for your very wise advice.
We will see you next time.